country's economy, as projected by economists and even businessmen, will continue to grow in 2013. Given the 6.6% growth in 2012, hopes are high the figures will be sustained or could be higher, which sectors of the economy will surpass projections. How much of a factor will the private sector contribute to growth? So joining us live on the phone is former Finance Secretary Roberto de Ocampo, one of the leading figures of the Makati Business Club. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sparing us your time. To start us off, 2012 was a good year. Can you say 2013 will be a better year? And which sectors of the economy will perform just as good as last year?
I think that 2013 will be as good a year as 2012. You're going to have quite a boost in expenditures because of election spending, even though there will be a bit of a pause in infrastructure spending because of the law that says that no such spending can be done during the election period. I think the remittances will continue to be strong, and manufacturing will begin to increase even more, because you're beginning to see that Japanese and Korean investments are coming in, and the country's perceived positive outlook, as reflected by the possibility of an upgrade in credit ratings, will also be an attraction for foreign investment to come to the Philippines. Now, the budgetary has announced an increase in budgetary spending this coming year, which means that the kind of momentum that had been started in 2012 in order to boost infrastructure and the social services spending will be a major factor in keeping up the growth of the economy. I think 6.6% in 2012 is a good one, and 6% in 2013 is easily within reach. If there are any things that would possibly keep things from going at the same pace as 2012, many of them would be external factors. Right now, you can see that the world economy, particularly Europe, is still struggling. The United States is still in the process of recovery. They have this budget deadlock that we've been hearing about, and certain changes in exchange rates that are being done by various countries could also be an external effect on the Philippine economic situation.
Sir, sorry if I stop you right there. You recently mentioned the infrastructure sort of area. How much of the GDP should be spent for infrastructure, given that that will quite directly impact the influx of foreign investments in the country? If you could give us numbers or...
easily twice what is being spent now, which is about in the vicinity of 2%. So it should be much more than that, like 5% would even be modest. Many other countries come up with infrastructure spending that is in double digits percentage of their GDP. Here we are playing a catch-up game with other countries that are our competitors throughout the global economy. And so it is important that infrastructure is put into place. Now, the private sector is already beginning to move ahead in terms of contributing to the growth of infrastructure in the Philippines. And of course, we continue in the private sector to await the full and more vigorous implementation of the PPP program of the administration.
So regarding companies who are moving out, for instance, of China and relocating elsewhere and are considering the Philippines and perhaps are already relocating to the Philippines, how much of a fact is this?
That is very important because right now, countries around us like China and Indonesia that were relatively more attractive because of their lower labor costs are seeing increases in their labor costs compared to the Philippines labor costs right now. At the same time, the cost of labor is not just wages, it is also skills, the ability to speak in English and to conduct business under global practices. And that the Philippines definitely has been doing and is an outstanding example of. It doesn't surprise me, therefore, that many are going to be shifting to the Philippines. In the case of Japan, they recently have been making moves to bring in major manufacturing entities into the Philippines, partly because of the attraction of the Philippines and partly because the Japanese are also trying to spread their risks within the region. They were hit by tsunami, they were hit by floods in Thailand, and so they're making sure they don't put all of their eggs in just a few baskets, and the Philippines is an attractive alternative for them.
Exactly. And in light of this, if there are any concerns that must be raised, which could risk our growth, what are they, and how can the private sector support the government to address these concerns?
Well, the main concerns would be, first of all, the possibility of a continued strengthening of the Philippine peso. That you're beginning to see because the peso has moved up to the level of 40. And the central bank so far, the BSP so far, has been able to manage the appreciation of the peso so that it doesn't go beyond to levels that might affect sectors that are important, such as OFW remittances and BPO sectors. That is one to watch out for. The other, of course, would be the continued, you might say, slow growth of job creation, as well as the continued strength of smuggling, which takes up quite a bit of what could have been part of a healthier fiscal position for the Philippines, and also unfairly competes with legitimate businesses. So these, I think, are among the things that have to be given closer watch.
Sir, thank you very much for your insight. Time is a tyrant, so we have to let you go. But thank you very much, former Finance Secretary Roberto de Ocampo of the Makati Business Club, for being with us on Newslife.